The Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. And look, it all started as a conversation about the right to information, but suddenly the thought struck us, and I wonder whether you've thought of it. Why do Ghanaian politicians and appointees not resign when they fail? Why don't they resign? In other parts of the world, it is the natural outcome. You fail, you go. After all, that role is supposed to be filled by a person who can deliver. So if you can't, your duty to the people of the nation is to leave so that the one who can come. Anyway, we're going to talk about it. We're going to try and break it down. Talk to some guests, some erudite Ghanaians who can help us understand the psychology behind it. Why don't we? And what should we do to bring that culture to the benefit of Ghana? But before all that, the Minerals Income Investment Fund, the state entity mandated to receive and manage minerals royalties, among other functions per the Minerals Income Investment Act 2018, which is Act 978, wishes to remind all licensed and active quarry operators, salt mining operators, limestone mining operators, and sand winners to pay up their overdue royalties into the designated MIIF account at the Bank of Ghana or through the ghana.gov.gh website to avoid sanctions. Separately, all returns must be filed at the nearest Ghana Revenue Authority office and filed with the Finance Department of MIIF or addressed to MIIF or via email at finance@miif.gov.gh. Operators who have not paid minerals royalties from 2021 and between January 2022 and June 2022 are also hereby notified to fulfill this statutory obligation forthwith in order to avoid any business inconvenience. MIIF has commenced a nationwide interagency operation to ensure all mining operators within the jurisdiction comply and adhere to the Minerals Income Investment Act 2018, Act 978, to the letter. For further information, contact MIIF via nana.tano@miif.gov.gh or just call 0201 855 660. Please go to miif.gov.gh to learn more about the activities of the Minerals Income Investment Fund and its triple statutory mandate of managing the equity stake of Ghana in all mining companies, receiving royalties on behalf of the state, and investing the royalties to guarantee the future wealth of Ghanaians. Our royalties, our heritage.
Looking for innovative yet affordable housing solutions? Well, register and join the conversation at the 5th Ghana Green Building Summit and Exhibition 2022. You will learn and have access to innovative models to build houses under 1 month and under 300,000 Ghana cedis. Funding options for affordable housing and building blocks from recycled materials. Register at GhanaGreenBuildingSummit.com or call 0500 261972. The summit is supported by IFC, Cowbank, St. Gobain, Echo Stone, BNFT Newspaper, Global Media Alliance, Ghana Web, Greta, Ghana Institution of Engineering, Ghana Institute of Surveyors, Mikasa, Joy FM, and Joy News.
And the Ministry of Education, through the National Teaching Council, presents Ghana Teacher Prize 2022 on the theme, The Transformation of Education Begins with Teachers. Guest of honor, the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The most outstanding teacher goes home with a 3-bedroom apartment. First runner-up goes with a 4x4 pickup, and the second runner-up gets a saloon vehicle. Now, the best teacher in leadership and administration also gets a saloon car. The best non-teaching staff gets a saloon car. Activities include a 2-day symposium, date 3rd and 4th October 2022 at Modern City Hotel, Tamale at 9 a.m. A grand debate of chiefs on Wednesday, 5th October 2022 at exactly 9 a.m. and it will be live at the University of Development Studies Multipurpose Hall, Tamale. Media partner as the Multimedia Group. This event will be telecast on the 5th of October on Joy News between 9:30 to 12 noon.
All right, so we couldn't have done it without you. That's the message Robert and Sons Limited Optical Services wants to give to the whole nation as they say thank you to all of you, their loyal customers, for 32 years of patronage. They couldn't have made it this far without you, and they appreciate all of your support throughout the years. They want to invite all of you to please visit them at these branches for free eye tests and great offers. Okay, so you can go to Kumasi and East Legon on the 26th, or that's past, at Abraka on the 27th, Dankwa Circle on the 29th of September. They look forward to continuing to provide you with many more years of comprehensive eye care services and unbeatable variety of authentic products. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you very much for the opportunity to serve you for 32 years. Join us for many more years. That's the message from Robert and Sons. If you want to know more, call 0302 222 601.
Now, your car is your best friend, and best friends need more than just any other oil. With over 50 plus years expertise in lubricants technology and recommendations from renowned car manufacturers, Shell brings you world-class Shell Helix and Shell Remover lubricants. Shell Helix range with its state-of-the-art gas-to-liquid technology is the #1 engine oil that cleans your engine for better performance than conventional lubricants in the market. Engineered specially for heavy-duty engines, Shell Remover provides reliable and resistant protection against deposits and wear, and works hard to give you peace of mind to focus on your core job. Our oil specialists and lube mechanics are trained to understand your car and guide you the right way of maintenance. Make a stop at any Shell service station and let us help you choose a right motor oil from our complete range of products and benefit from our additional vehicle checks for free. Shell lubricants designed for ultimate engine performance.
And getting cash on the go from an ABSA ATM is now so easy, even when you don't have your contactless ABSA debit card with you. For the first time in Ghana, you can withdraw money from any ABSA ATM with the ABSA mobile banking app using a QR code. It is easy, safe, and convenient. Simply open your ABSA mobile app, select ATM QR Cash to scan the QR code on the ATM screen, follow the prompts, and get your cash out. Easy. That's another digital innovation that gets things done. That's Africanacity. That's ABSA. Download the ABSA mobile banking app now to get started, or visit the nearest ABSA branch to sign up.
All right, listen. Why do Ghanaian politicians and appointees not resign when they fail? This is a question that has gripped us, and I know that a lot of you have been thinking about it. During the break, Winston, Mamavi, Raymond, and I had a conversation, and we raised several interesting issues. We want to bring the conversation to you and get your thoughts on it as well. We also want to speak to some Ghanaians who have been observing this space, who have experience and thought leadership pedigree in this space, to help us understand why Ghanaians don't like to resign when they fail, and what we need to do to bring that culture here to the benefit of our people. So listen, let's share some thoughts. First of all, let's try and understand whether our history has anything to do with it. So Ghana originates from kingdoms. Okay, we come from kings and queens. We come from a certain line of leadership where you inherit your leadership position through your bloodline or through winning some war or whatever. You become you are established as king, and you remain so until you die. If you are ever removed from office, it is an act of shame, for processes to be put in place to destool a king. So you become king and you remain king till you die. That used to be our history. Then there was colonialism, which was a bit of an extension of that, because all the countries that colonized us were kingdoms too. So, the British, who became our last colonial masters, they were a monarchy. So that kingdom character was really well established in Ghana before we became a republic for the first time under Nkrumah. Now, from the first republic to the fourth republic that we are in today, that's 65 years since Ghana became Ghana, right? 43 of those 65 years were as republics, as democratically ruled nation. For 22 of those 65 years, we were under military rule. So that's 1/3 of the time we were under military rule. Leadership under military rule also has a certain autocratic nature to it. The military leader appoints people and then disappoints them as and when. To be removed from office by a military leader is an act of punishment. For you to resign is an act of defiance, and it is not usually met with positive results. So resignation is not really common under military rule, and you can understand why. So if for 1/3 of our history as a nation we were under military rule, and for all the time before we became Ghana we were under monarchy, then you can start to understand why the plenty interference of these coup d'etats that we had has prevented us from solidifying a democratic identity. So even under democratic rule, under the republics, the 4 republics, the first one lasted 9 years, the second and third ones lasted about 27 months each, and the last one, the 4th republic, which has lasted almost 30 years, or just a few months away from 30 years. Under each of these, we still acted as if we were either under a monarchy or under military rule. Those who take up office, they believe that they've taken up a property. The nation becomes their property. Appointments are given as rewards. So once you are given your reward, you just go and sit and serve and enjoy your reward. If you are enjoying a reward, where does resignation come in? If something goes wrong, if something goes wrong, your monarch who appointed you will cover you. So it became very difficult for the idea of quitting because you failed to even establish itself. Now, generally, in other places where people resign more readily, you will tend to find maybe 2 triggers of resignation. One is shame. The other is conviction. Any reason for someone resigning will fall under one of these 2. Either you are resigning on conviction because the thing that you were appointed to do, it just doesn't meet your principles, so you are leaving. Or shame because you were supposed to do something, you failed to do it, so you are leaving, right? But here in Ghana, our politics is very different. Politics is like a performance, it's like an act. People don't really, in other parts of the world, a politician is a politician because of who he is as a human being, what he believes as a human being. He belongs to this party because of his ideologies, what he genuinely believes. In Ghana, a politician is acting, he's performing. When people like Abronye, or Alote Jacobs is on radio, you can see the pantomime, the drama in the things they say, right? And it started from Rawlings, the melodramatic leadership, So you see performance in what they do. And if you are performing, it's not you, it's not real. So if something goes wrong, you don't feel shame because you were playing a role, you were acting. Right? So it's hard for you to connect it to yourself and then decide that, look, I'm going to quit.
On principle, how to do anything. Yes.
Thank you. Conviction is another thing that almost never applies to a Ghanaian politician because our ideology is interchangeable. We have currently a property-owning, democracy-believing party in government, and they are touting their
welfare policies.
Exactly, their welfare policies over the Social Democratic Party.
Certainly.
So it's very hard. These things haven't crystallized. So it's been difficult for us to embrace the idea of resigning. I believe that's the biggest factor causing us not to recognize it.
I get your point. I picked up on the part where you were talking about colonial and the relevance and connections with inheritance and monarchies. So if God gave you the right to rule, why should you resign? That's one of the key things that underpins that particular thinking. But let's move it a little bit in this direction. What are the pros and cons of resigning or not resigning? Generally, you have mentioned the ideological position of conviction. The gentleman Cook, he served in the government of Tony Blair. In 2003, he did a very wonderful speech in the Parliament of the UK, which they are now praising him for. He told them that his personal convictions do not allow him to support a war in Iraq when it's not been approved by the UN.
Alistair Cook, right?
Yes, and everything within him cannot support that particular war. Then he resigned. 2 others followed him after that particular decision. Mere conviction, general principle. So when you resign, it accentuates your conviction that I do not come into government for myself, but for the greater good. That at any point in time, if the collective view of the government does not reflect the greater good, I am telling you I can no longer be part of it. So if we are applying a similar one, a minister or somebody in government cannot give the excuse that I didn't get the resources and I'm not being heard. That's why I'm still in office. Would have left office because the current thinking of the government does not reflect his own convictions. Secondly, you also resign because there is a general thinking that when you fail, you let go and let somebody else take over. An indication that you are not greedy. You are principled enough to identify that you have failed. Before even the shame part comes in, you think somebody else, and that is not a private office, and this is doing work for a group. Because underpinning all of this is the agency principle. You are an agent of a principle, being we the people of this republic. You are doing work for us. At any point in time, if you're unable to do the work the way you ought to do it, you let go. That's the agent will have to tell the principal, I can't do it the way you want me to do it, so I'm letting go. Or if you fail to do it the way it ought to be done, you quickly submit yourself to an investigative process or step aside, so that that process will continue to either clear up the misconceptions about your role or let you continue in that particular role. So that's one of the reasons. One, there's another reason where you do it because it is merely good. You are resigning because there are other factors. It could be family, it could be relations, it could be that's preventing you from doing the work you ought to do naturally. So a family member is ill, you can't combine the two. So you leave public office so you do not make your role in public office conflict with your role in private life. So your child is not well, you want to spend all time with family, and something is preventing you from playing that role. And to avoid conflict, another key reason why people resign is to avoid conflict. It reaches a point, your personal engagement with a company or whatever is preventing you from continuing your role. So you have to choose. You mentioned the shame part, which is also very great. It's a sign of remorse that I've considered my role in office. I failed woefully. I have no business continuing this role as your leader, as a person you have entrusted with power. So I'm letting go of the power. On the other side, though, you know, power has some trappings. Security in Ghana, security, you get money, you get all the other things involved. So letting go may affect your personal finances. Two, how you are seen in the public's eye. Some people believe that because you are brought into power to solve their problems, they don't understand why you should leave office as minister. How will we continue benefiting from you? Exactly. So you may lose the connections that comes with the power that you're actually entrusting. That's part of the negatives in this particular case. There's another one when it comes to continuity. So I have been minister for 2 years when we went into power. The next 2 years, I'm just settling into the role, but I have to resign. Getting another person to continue, especially in a part of the world where the public service in the office itself and the civil service is not strong enough to run independent of political appointees, it might also be difficult for people to make that particular decision. But ultimately, the furtherance of one's personal interest can be a major negative to leaving office. And that personal interest could be, if I leave office, who will be granting me the things I need to get in office? The access to bypassing traffic, the state engagement and all of that.
Were you not working before you got into office?
Yeah, but maybe your life has been enhanced.
Your life has been enhanced?
Yes. No, not just by money, but by, for example, you could skip traffic. You could actually use sirens to get you. The prestige connected to it. You could use VVIP or VIP at the airport. You lose all of these things when they get out of power. It could be one of the reasons why people do not want to get out of power. So what I've just done is the many reasons people may choose to resign, all being principle based, and the other reasons being either greed or personal reasons, which has very little to do with the public service that you are supposed to deliver.
So I've been looking at countries because sometimes you want to think, is it a Ghanaian thing? Is it just that we haven't learned what happens elsewhere? And there are examples. It's easy to cite examples in the UK, for instance, where like 50 ministers resigned. It started with 2 of them who were unhappy that the Prime Minister had appointed somebody who had sexual allegations.
Sexual misconduct allegations, yeah.
Just mere allegations.
Yeah.
And he had appointed that person. It led to 50 of them. And then eventually we saw the Prime Minister himself
leaving office.
If you go to the US, Trump, in his administration, some persons resigned because of the violence that hits the capital. Remember, this was when they were going over processes to certify election results. Several Trump administration officials resigned as a result of that. And then you think, oh, we don't have any examples in Africa, but check Egypt. In 2019, after a train crash that killed some 25 persons, the Minister of Transport resigned.
Train crash.
Train crash.
Killed
He didn't do
25.
it all. He didn't buy the train.
He wasn't driving.
Yeah.
He was
the
not.
train.
Yeah.
He
didn't
resigned
build the
because of
tracks.
He
that.
resigned because of that.
Yo.
In Sudan, just this year,
War-torn Sudan.
mass protests got the Prime Minister to resign. Yeah. And then if you go to Portugal, as for the accident examples, I think we have a lot of them.
That's
because
true.
in Portugal, Interior Minister resigned over fatal highway accident. Same in Taiwan. And this is incredible, because in this train crash in Taiwan, 200 people got injured. It was big world news. It got the minister to resign. Defense minister also in Croatia resigned because of a similar thing. So there are examples all over. It looks like this is exclusive to Ghana, where we've seen several officials do things that in some instances people have begged the appointing authority to just let them go, but it hasn't happened.
To save the little reputation they have.
You see, following from what you have just said, in any serious jurisdiction, any serious country, where we have insecurity around, the Interior Minister would have by now been telling the President, I think you need a different approach to security in this country. Even the IGP, by now, would have been telling the President, Mr. President, I think it's time for me to go. And when you have a finance minister who's borrowed into crisis, yes, he's led this country to borrow into crisis, pretending everything was well. Even in the midst of COVID-19, when we grew by 0.9%, he trumpeted his prudent management of the economy.
Called it positive.
He called it positive. Came back the following year and said, while countries were growing at negatives and 2%, we grew about 5%. Clearly an indication of how well he was running the economy. Only to turn around and tell all of us that the same COVID-19, that after COVID-19 he said we were doing well, is the cause of our problem one, and today he adds Russia-Ukraine being the second cause of our problem, the reason we have to go on an IMF program. And he still wants to be the one to lead discussions. And I'll tell you one
As
simple
a
thing.
father of the people.
As a father of the people. You remember Brexit?
Yeah.
Cameron, before Brexit, spoke to the nation and said he preferred the UK to remain within the EU. He was asked a question, Prime Minister, if we exit, would you resign? His first response was, I am not on the ballot, so why should I resign? The moment the UK voted to leave the EU, he said he did not believe that he would be the person to lead the UK out of EU.
That's
because he had urged them to remain and they hesitate. So he saw no reason why he still
He didn't
should be
steal
Prime
money.
Minister.
Principle.
He didn't break any rule.
No.
Yeah.
He just said, I cannot be Prime Minister.
He didn't mismanage any economy.
No. Based on the principle that I
He
wanted
didn't
you to
lead
stay.
them to any IMF.
No.
I wanted you to stay. And because you said you're leaving, it means I cannot lead you there. So let someone who believes you should, exit the EU, be the one to lead you. Principle that we're talking about here. And in any serious country, the health minister, who in the midst of a pandemic said he couldn't think straight, would have resigned. He would have resigned because what other decisions may he have taken without thinking straight?
Which requires probe.
Yes.
Which he might obstruct if he's still in office.
Exactly. By now, there's no way we should be talking about a health minister, Cudjoe Yankson. Cudjoe Yankson should have been classified as former health minister. He should have been probed to actually, find out the sort of decisions he may have taken in the past without thinking properly.
But
Because-
what did the appointing authority
Oh,
say
the
about
appointing
it?
authority joked that Ghana for Papa Nasumpa. And they all laughed over it.
Yes. But said that he's doing
He's doing
Excellent.
an excellent job.
Thank you.
He's doing an excellent job. The person that told all of us in this country that as for him, in the heat of COVID-19, he was not thinking straight. So an accountant of that level signed a contract without thinking straight.
Yeah.
How many contracts has he signed without thinking straight? Today, he's in office. And we can go on and on and on. Look, in any serious jurisdiction, Ajasafa would not have remained in office for 1 year while she was not in this country.
That's true.
She would have resigned long ago, or wouldn't have been fired long ago.
For a noble cause of taking care of my child, which is a very legitimate
Exactly.
reason.
So I leave. But you see, Cudjoe makes the point, and you talk about it. I just want to end on this note. The point about our belief that when you're giving a position, then you go. Apart from seeing it as a reward, you think that, all things being equal, you should remain in this position forever. What we forget is that when you're put in a position, you set a target for yourself, achieve that target, and say, I am done, I am leaving, so that the next person would come in. In fact, I'll end on this note. In multinational companies, when they realize you can no longer rise, and you've been in a position for a very long time, they actually would encourage you to resign. They encourage you to resign by offering you a very juicy package.
That's true.
They'll tell you, how about you take this and go? For the next 2 years, we'll still be paying you. But they want new ideas. And it's even part of the reason we have decided that you cannot be president forever in this country. After two terms, go and let another person come in. So, look, for all of us talking about, the finance minister says, how can a father desert his children? I mean, when it is shown that a father cannot properly take care of his children, the state comes in. The state intervenes and takes care of those children. So let the finance minister not deceive himself that a father cannot leave his children. In fact, the state can step in and tell him that, Father, we have realized that you cannot take care of your children.
Even your family members.
Today.
But the humane thing to do when
Ken
you
Ofori-Atta should not be finance minister of Ghana. Today. He should not be the one, together with the governor of the Bank of Ghana, leading discussions.
And we should not be telling him that. It's a matter of decency as a human being. That all the things I said previously, we're a proud nation. We will not do this thing because it will speak ill of us. We can manage it. We have done it before. We are competent enough to do all the very things you're talking about. Forget about the relations with data bank and all of that. But even merely having to take us into this IMF engagement, a principled person would say, no, I have to step aside.
After all, your way of thinking has taken us there,
Yeah.
to the IMF. Your choice of borrowing has taken us there.
Yeah, besides,
So in order for us to come out, we need a different thinking, don't we?
In fact,
we can't use the same thinking that took us there to come out.
Exactly. And in fact, the mere fact that the finance minister said we are a proud nation, will never go to the IMF, is enough reason that he should have resigned.
Isn't that similar to the David Cameron
I'll not
situation that you
embrace it.
mentioned,
Look,
just
we
based on principle?
Exactly. Look, we have certain sayings in our culture that should support resignation. For example, we say in Sujina Pintuemu Chera, right? When water remains in a bottle for too long, it starts to smell. Sometimes you just outstay your welcome. Okay, we say ikrodo so once na fa kunjenyim gwase. If there are many places you can be, you don't stay in one place where the only thing you will get is disgrace. But then again, the only reason why people go into public office is for private gain. So until the private gain ends, why would they leave the public office? When we come back, we'll engage Dr. Amoako, political scientist, and Franklin Cudjoe, founding president and CEO of Imani Center for Policy and Education. They're on the lines right now. Gentlemen, good morning to you both.
Good morning. I've been listening.
Wonderful.
Good morning.
We can't wait to hear your views right after these messages.
Hello, my name is Mamavi Owusu-Aboagye, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time and sometimes takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Image Bureau and April Communications, in partnership with the National Theatre, presents.
Stanley, look, all hell will be let loose if now we're to see anything in the newspapers about me and Mary and living in Labone.
But why?
Because I live with Nashome in his cantonments.
No, son, you live with Mary in Labone.
That too.
Hey, you've got 2 homes?
Yes.
One here with Mary?
Yes.
And one with your girlfriend in East Cantonment?
Yes, only Nashome is not my girlfriend.
What is she? A German Shepherd?
She's my wife.
Run for your wife. Live at the National Theatre, Saturday 1st and Sunday 2nd October, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Tickets are now selling for 100 Ghana cedis at Bachona Total, Koala, Frankie's, Tama Community 11 Shell, Nalem Store, X-Men, East Legon, or go to www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *365*2020 hash.
So you've got 2 wives?
Yes.
And 2 homes?
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Me, myself, sometimes I'm surprised.
Prepare for the most hilarious comedy of your life.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed last month's Fala Friday, well, guess what? It's here again. Refresh with a big bang. This Friday, 30th September 2022, TCL is giving you up to 50% discount on all items, including the all-new TCL Google TVs, air conditioners, washing machines, fridges, and much more. No long talk. Get up to a 50% discount Fala this Friday. Walk into any TCL or Max Buy showroom across the country and enjoy this amazing discount only on Fala Friday. Guy, find a Fala, call 059-691-3298 or visit store.tclghana.com. TCL Fala Friday. Paddy Fano Fala. TCL, inspire greatness.
The National Petroleum Authority, in collaboration with the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors and under the auspices of the Ministry of Energy and African Refiners and Distributors Association, is organizing the Ghana International Petroleum Conference, GIPCON 2022, live from the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, Accra, from the 28th to the 30th of September 2022. This year's conference is under the theme Energy Transition in the African Petroleum Downstream Context, Prospects, Challenges, and the Way Forward. The special guest of honor for the event is His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, with Honorable Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, also delivering an address. The conference is designed to actively bring to the fore the downstream petroleum industry's perspective and guidance on issues of governmental policy and regulatory framework. GIPCON 2022 will witness a convergence of regulators and downstream industry stakeholders from across the West African sub-region and beyond. It is a unique occasion to connect with many specialists in the downstream petroleum industry from all over the world. For registration, participation, opportunities for exhibition and sponsorship, kindly visit gipcon.com.
Hey, welcome back to work.
Charlie, thanks, bro. Thanks,
the
bro.
malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Hey, fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and fufu?
How we go do it?
I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Oh, yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
Sharp. Anyway, sorry to ruin your excitement, but your boss asked of you.
Okay.
She says she has plenty work for you.
No problem, Charlie. Strength day.
You see,
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing Artemether and Lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for the effective treatment of malaria in adults and children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malatu is manufactured and distributed by Ernest Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Tell me where you gonna run go. Yeah, I be some here. So me play. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh.
Ghanaian political appointees not resign when they fail. Dr. Amoako is a political scientist. Franklin Cudjoe is the founding president and CEO of Imani. And we're going to be hearing from them in just a minute. Stay with us. It's the Super Morning Show on Joy. Bring your family and loved ones this and every Sunday to Oak Plaza Hotel, Lucida Restaurant for the best Ghanaian buffet lunch in town. Complimentary local drinks, water, and entertainment are available. Discounts are also available for group bookings. If you want to reserve, call 020-511-235 or 030-221-0630. Oak Plaza Hotel, a good place for great food and memorable experiences.
And hey, have you registered your SIF-line numbers yet? In line with the National Communications Authority's directive to get all SIM cards re-registered, SIF-line has demarcated special registration points close to your community to help you register your MiFis and routers. You can also visit any SIF-line shop near you to register with your Ghana card. Remember, no registration, no service. Register your SIF-line numbers today to avoid disconnection. SIF-line, better together.
And of course, if you're going to check one website today, make sure it's kingdomstoreonline.com. Go and see how you can pay for all the stuff you want from Kingdom Books and Stationery via Momo across all networks, and then have it delivered to your home or office. If you live in Accra or Tema, delivery is free. Terms and conditions apply. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
And it is time for a spiritual revival. ICGC Holy Ghost Temple invites you to their spiritual emphasis program with the theme Visitation of the Lord. Ministering under the program are Reverend Eastwood Anaba, President of Eastwood Anaba Ministries, Reverend Dr. Robert Ampia Kofi, General Overseer of Global Revival Ministries, and host Prophet Christopher Yawano, Senior Pastor, ICGC Holy Ghost Temple. It's Tuesday, the 11th of October 2022 to Friday, 14th October. Time 6:30 p.m. each night. The venues are the ICGC Holy Ghost Temple at Denta Frafraha near the Frafraha Community Senior High School. Come and experience the divine visitation of the Lord.
Now, everywhere make hot, baby, but still, man, for enjoy regardless. So grab your favorite Bigo drink from Twelium Industrial Company Limited, producers of Verna Mineral Water and Rush Energy Drink. Bigo drink gives you 20 bottles for a pack, no more 16. 4 more bottles for free. Ubia, Benyebi, boys, girls, mommy and daddy for the party, funeral, family day out, and any other social gathering. Grab any of the flavors: cola, orange, pineapple, apple, cocktail. Bigo drink, big in taste, big in flavor, big in quantity, and very affordable for all. Bigo drink, another premium product from Twelium Industrial Company Limited, producers of Rush Energy Drink and Verna Mineral Water.
Okay. All right, let's get into our conversation. Dr. Amoako is a political scientist. Franklin Cudjoe is the CEO of Imani. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for your time. If I may start with Dr. Amoako, politics has been an area of study for you for such a long time. Yes. I wonder what your thoughts are from that academic perspective of why resignation is not a natural outcome when a politician fails or discovers that his convictions are being compromised by him remaining in office. Why do they not just quit?
Well, I'll say this. That is very peculiar to Ghana and Africa in general. Because the way we set up our economies, if a minister resigns, what job can he get that pays him the same amount of money and benefits he was getting as a minister? That is the problem. You are with the government or you are with the government. So when something is going wrong, you know it is wrong, what do? Go and talk to your wife. You tell you to be quiet and take your pay. Because when you leave, the next person will do the same thing. He won't say anything. So you stay there. That's what it is. To resign and do what? That's the question. Resign and go and sit home and die, most likely. These politicians, MPs who are in parliament, when they lose their seat, it doesn't take 2 years. I've been there talking to the clerk. 2 years, they come back to beg for help. 2 years, just 2 years. That is the problem. And when you add the element of Land Cruiser, that's it. Forget it. That car, he never hoped to buy one in his entire life. Now he's got one for free. He got a driver. He got free fuel. What are you going to complain for? Just be quiet and take your pay. That's what's going on. And as long as we don't have other avenues for high-ups to jump there, this is what's going to happen all the time. There are no alternatives. So be quiet and take your pay.
I want to bring in Franklin Cudjoe at this point. Now, you would say that if a person fails, if it is obvious that the person has failed to perform, it should be easy to remove them. But is it obvious when a person fails in political office in Ghana? Do we have matrix? Do we have peer review? Do we have standards, benchmarks that are set so that if a person is put in an office and they don't meet that standard, we can say, well, you can't do it, let's find someone else. Do we have enough of that?
Well, good morning to you and your and your colleagues as well, and to Prof. First of all, I think the question you asked is quite important. In fact, my opening comments were going to be based on that, whether we do, in fact, have the metrics that go along with whoever is appointed or the a particular position. Unfortunately, not. We do not have those necessarily in print, except of course the normal infractions. Maybe if you are caught in keeping your fingers or your hands in the kidney, there may be processes that will lead to your extermination or termination of your appointment. Otherwise, if it is simply the fact that you haven't necessarily delivered on the economy, you haven't made a particular GDP rate. Unfortunately, the nature of our politics, being a very presidential one, does not lend itself to those rules that would force you out of politics, except, of course, if you are convinced, just as we've all discussed this morning, if you are convinced that we have, if we believe that you believe in certain principles, then those could be personal to you. But if it is necessarily looking at the political spectrum, unfortunately, I do not think we have those morals or indeed the metrics or the key performance indicators that are enshrined that would ensure that you are kicked out of office. Don't also forget that it is also considered some sort of political taboo or some sort of pointing the middle finger to your appointer when you resign based on your conviction. This is not a conviction-based. We don't run conviction-based politics in this part of our world, except for the ones that we need people to vote for us with slogans. So anything that falls short of being part of the party would not countenance any, should I call it, sanctions from anybody, not even the appointing authority. So that's what is playing out in addition to all the excellent points that you've made.
This is interesting.
I mean, one would have thought that the soft issues of pragmatism, meritocracy, and honesty in public office will be the guiding principles for any politician at all, whether he or herself. Unfortunately, these are not codified in that part of our world, or probably they need to be codified and measured. That's the only; those are the only basis for which we can say that people should kick. Otherwise, we'd have to wait for the next election. Unfortunately.
All right. Now, it's not only political appointees, or it's not only ministers. That's what I mean. It's not only ministers, but all political appointees are put there at the pleasure of the president.
Yes.
Now, you would expect, Dr. Amoako, that once a powerful leader puts you in a position and expects you to deliver, you would have a certain fear that if you fail, there's a consequence. And that fear is sometimes the reason why some people will bow out gracefully when they realize they can't do a good job. Do you recognize that fear in a Ghanaian appointee under our current president, those who have been put there, do you recognize that they have a certain fear of failure?
Well, this president places a high value on praises, on being part of his team, supporting him above everything else. Allegiance is most important to this president. And so you will see that people are not performing. It is obvious. He is the one who came to tell us that his appointees are doing a great job. When we are at the IMF, not what you're saying, that's a great job. He's saying that. And so you too, you get the cue. Just support him, praise him, don't speak against him. And that's it. And you'll be left alone. I'm telling you, there are so many ministers. If it wasn't for this tendency, they should have been fired long ago. For example, the communications minister should have been fired already. Should have been fired. She behaves to say she does what she wants because he has the back of the president. That is the problem. So in this peculiar circumstances, that's where we are. Look at this situation. How is it possible that the very person who is trumpeting the idea that we are not going to the IMF, we have the means to make it work, we don't need to go to the IMF, we are a proud nation and all of that, then we end up at the IMF. And suddenly, this same person is the one who has become the champion of dealing with the IMF. How is that possible? You were talking, this is what is called counterfeit logic. It has no integrity, no whatsoever. If the finance minister were not the relative of the president, he himself would have resigned. Here he tried to resign, actually. The president begged him not to. Oh. Because the president needs him. You see what I'm saying? Whatever it is he was doing, he is the one who understood what he was doing. He was the one who made it work. And so the president needs him no matter what. This is the problem. This situation we are in, it's not like other times. This is a peculiar situation of family and friends government. And this is what happens when you do that to the core. When things are going wrong, nobody says anything because they are taking the cues from the president himself. If the president himself is not doing well, the ministers are not doing well, you can't fire them. Our situation is compounded by the fact that we don't have any money. What measure do you give as indicators of performance when there is no money? The minister has not received his allocation for doing his job. How do you fire him? Based on what? That's the problem. So you don't have any indicators to show that this guy is not doing well because you are not giving him the resources to work with. So what do? So leave them there. That's what is done. Leave all of them there. Let them do their own thing.
Doc, when you say, if the president is not doing well and the ministers are not doing well, he can't fire him, just by way of clarification, are you suggesting that the president himself is not doing well and that's the reason he cannot fire his ministers?
I'm saying that, yes. He is not doing well. I'm not a man from the moon. We live here. If we are doing well, we will not be at the IMF to the extent that we are flat broke. Flat broke. You understand? All the road building has come to a complete halt. People are suffering. How can we say he's doing well? He's not doing well. He himself says things are tough. What about Galamsey? What is it? What policy that he came up with that is working well? Just one. I want to hear one. Just one. Which one? You can't name him one. Just one.
Free
so
SHS,
he's not doing
maybe?
well. Go ahead.
Free SHS? Ghana card?
No. Not by a long shot. You don't go to school just to pass exams, pass question exam. That is not education.
What is
education is supposed to impart knowledge to the students so that they can function critically in society, so they can contribute to the growth of that society. These children we are producing, they can read. Many of them can read. They can write. What are they coming to do? What? Why are the jobs even when they finish? Why are the jobs? Why the projection that in so and so and so years we'll have this many jobs, when they finish they'll be doing it? What is it? We are just going to school, free. Everybody's going to school. Is that the aim of education? That people just go and sleep somewhere, speak a little English and they finish. That's it? No. So even that, I'm saying today, has failed. I know poor people have been able to send their children to school, but what's the point? They can't do anything. They can't function. You talk to the teachers, they are quiet because they are afraid. They are very frustrated. There's no food. The food is rotting. No proper supervision. The students misbehaving. You name it. We went to school. This is not how it was. This is still Ghana. Look at it now. Look at it. So even that one, the flagship program, I can tell you categorically, I warned the president it won't work. The money is too much. No country is uplifted by the whole masses of people. No. And a few black ones who, through their diligence and hard work, uplift the society. That's how it's supposed to be. But you can't say everybody wants to go. Who are you teaching? The aggregate 49 student or the aggregate 6 student? They are all in the same class. Who are you teaching? If you teach the 6 student, the 49 is lost. If you teach the 49, the 6 is asleep. What's going on here? Teachers have no authority over students. This education minister says, okay, those JHS students who can neither read nor write are going to have their electives reduced. What? He's in the JHS, and he can neither read or write. How did he get over there? That's the first question. The second question is this. The student who can neither read nor write, it's not precisely because his electives are too many that he cannot read or write. No. So if you're going to reduce his elective to even 1, he still cannot read or write. That's the problem. We don't pay attention to important things. 17,000 teachers failed their teacher certification. That is alarming. This is a crisis. Nobody says anything. They are still teaching. What's going on here? Well, so the one you are saying is good. I can tell you plenty. It's not good at all.
I want to hear from Franklin because Dr. Amoah has gone into specifics, given examples of people who are in office today who he believes have failed and should resign. You come from the angle of policy analysis. That's your field of expertise. Franklin, based on that, from your analysis of our policies and implementation of them, who should be resigning in Ghana?
Well, I guess the answer could be pretty straightforward. I would think probably the entire government should be resigning because the zenith of every economic, political governance really thrives on the economy. And yes, we can understand there have been certain exigencies that may not be entirely due to our fault that may have contributed to the current challenges, but overwhelmingly, I mean, the jury is out there that even before 2019, around 2019, when we unceremoniously, or should I say prematurely, got off the IMF program, our fortunes were dwindling. And you take it back to the very reasons, you take it back to the source of all these challenges, and it's the package of programs that were coordinated by the government. Most of the programs were not value for money driven. They were heralded at the presidency, and so it was easy for them to be corrupted. I'm talking about the Ministry for Social Development Initiatives, for instance. That ministry shouldn't have existed because even the things they were doing could have been superintended by other ministries in the country. But in this part of our world, anything that is big and large is controlled usually at the presidency, and it didn't start with this president, by the way. But so the source of our woes could be traced to the amalgamation of all these little value for money driven projects that were superintended upon us, and then partly because the electorate also allowed it. There's something we say at Imani that we like to start asking questions, or we actually did, trying to ask the business plans of these politicians. When we started this project in 2008, people thought, well, why are we asking politicians to tell us their corporate or business plans? You can't run a country on the basis of a business. But that's precisely the point. Because politicians do not bring their own money to the table, and the money they use for development is a collective from everybody, it must be respected, which is why we desire or we require business plans. What essentially I'm asking is that how well do we vet the manifestos of this political party? I think Joy FM and to a large extent the multimedia family and indeed some other media have tried in order to interrogate matters. But unfortunately, the politics of the day do not lend itself to getting us the best of results. So a direct answer to your question is essentially that maybe the entire government should be resigning given the things that haven't worked and the fact that they've been quite wasteful expenditure. Look, my brother and my sister and my brothers and sisters in the street, haven't you noticed that the major challenge the major challenges we face in this country when it comes to economic governance has to do with how expensive the project we procure are? I mean, we built a runway in this country for about $120 million, when that same money could have been building about 4 airports in Ethiopia, right? We are paying an entity $1.5 million every month, the revenue actual from the telcos, because the telcos were stealing. Up to today, we haven't seen a single report as to why, whether the telcos were indeed under declaring their revenues or not. But we've gone on to other things, forcing everybody to get the same card, re-register same card. We take a look at the what's it called, the Auditor General's report. It's become like a broken record. Repeating the findings from that. But I worry, and I think what we worry about essentially is the pattern of expenditure, bloated expenditure that we assign to most of our projects. So, if you ask me, I think that whole department called government, and in this regard, the current administration must have some sort of a recall of the very things that they did that led to the problems that we are facing right now. Right. So I can't unfortunately pinpoint just one person out. I know people are saying that the finance minister and all of those, health minister and all of those, on a normal day, well, yes. But I'm looking at the entire spectrum and I'm asking myself, essentially, how did we get here? We got here because of the little value we gave to most of the projects or most of the programs that we are superintending upon as a country. One village, one dam. We send people to the northern part of the country. It's an atrocious comedy of errors that have been organized called One Village, One Dam. It's disheartening, really.
Yeah. If you just joined us, we're having a conversation with Franklin Cudjoe and Dr. Amoako. We're trying to answer the question, why do Ghanaian political appointees not resign when they fail? So far we've learned quite a lot. I want you to stay with us because we want to take the final thoughts of our guests. And if we can have a minute each from each of you on this simple question. In Egypt, someone resigned because of an accident. I mean, he didn't cause it, but he resigned because he felt responsible. In the UK, someone resigned for turning up a few minutes late to explain something to Parliament. These people are no more human than us. What can we do to bring that culture to Ghana? Dr. Amoako.
Well, first and foremost, I would say that the first order of business is to write a new constitution. This one cannot be amended. It's broken. Write it with inbuilt checks and balances. And we take some of these powers away from the president. The way we set it up, this is what's going to happen. You are at the post at the pressure of the president. No matter what you've done, if he doesn't fire you, nobody can do anything. Look at Cudjoe, how long it took. You cannot remove him from Parliament. At least fire her from the post as minister. No. All this time. That's the problem. We set our system up to fail. Really, that's what it is. It's at the pleasure of the president. If we are not lucky, and he is not capable, as you've seen in this instance, this is what's going to happen. You advise him, he doesn't take it. There's nothing left for you to do but to be quiet and watch him. I've said before, and I'll say it again, every single day this man remains as the president, the country is in peril. I will say it. I supported him wholeheartedly. Now I have seen the results, and I can't say otherwise. This is what I say. It is our country. It belongs to all of us. And it's by time we stand up and stop behaving as if the country belongs to the president and his friends and family and cronies. And we are just guest workers in it. We are not. If we don't speak up now, there will be nothing left. Pretty much right now, nothing left. The banks are in trouble. The president and the government are in trouble. Now, IMF finds out, oh my goodness, they have a long rope tied all the banks with them. So when the government goes down, the banks go down, which means the whole system crashes. That's what's going on.
Wow. Franklin Cudjoe, also in a minute, how can we bring this culture of resignation to Ghana for the benefit of Ghanaians?
You know, unless with a sport, and I say that we would have been better off with a parliamentary system of governance, which could make the government fall any day, any time, given the challenges that would have come up. But otherwise, because we don't have that, maybe we need the collective, and in this case, the media, society, and indeed the entire citizenry should be forcing these upon the politicians. 2 series of actions: change signatures that are signed, letters written to officialdom, just as you guys did not long ago, asking why a certain contract did not give us the terms or that we required, and then continuously push the envelope. It's the only way. Otherwise, we'd have to wait for the next election, and it becomes a fanciful merry-go-round, really.
I want to say a big thank you to both of you for your time this morning. Very enlightening conversation. Dr. Amoako Baah is a political scientist, and Franklin Cudjoe is the founding president and CEO of Imani, Center for Policy and Education. Listen, we can't wait to hear your thoughts on this question. Why do Ghanaian politicians not resign when they fail? When we come back from these messages.
Are you covered? In fact, how much do you know about motor insurance? Do you know exactly what it takes to make sure that your car is all-round covered the way it really needs to be? To make the right choice when choosing a motor insurance policy, you need to talk to the right people. Dunwell Insurance offers competitive rates and a choice of covers ranging from third-party cover, third-party fire and theft cover to comprehensive cover. At Dunwell Insurance, we delight in paying personal attention to our esteemed customers and ensure prompt payment of claims. So if you didn't know, now you know. Dunwell Insurance. If it must be done, it must be done well.
Fortune rice. It needs just a little water. The greenstone stick and the aroma and taste are delicious. Fortune rice, always on point, just like mom.
Now introducing Fortune Emuka, your tasty Ghana rice for all your rice meals.
This advert is FDA approved.
Just like mom.
Some institutions touch lives, leave lasting impressions, and are never forgotten. GCB, your biggest and largest bank in Ghana, is rewarding customers who activate their inactive account this season. From now till the end of October 2022, GCB is inviting all customers whose account have been inactive for over 2 years to activate their account and get exciting rewards. Go on, activate your account with any amount at any GCB bank branch nationwide. You may also activate your account on our online platform and enjoy the GCB experience. Customers who activate their account with 100 Ghana Cedi and above also get a 50 Ghana Cedi reward at the end of the month. Don't forget, terms and conditions apply. Hurry, get your account activated and link it to your Ghana card. Contact our customer service on 0302-681-531 or on toll free on 0800-422-422 for any information that you may require. GCB Bank PLC, your bank for life.
Imagine say water wake up at dawn. You know buff, you know chop. Where it vanish for your area for 2 weeks. You not get one drop safe inside your tank.
Hey.
Hajia, our life was in dangerous. Only our neighbor get water with water tank.
Water tank?
Yes, water tank. Mamma mia, that water tank gets meter for checking water level. That water tank be fine past Kumasi Selendion. That water tank be tough like Ghana Army. That water tank, they carry water pepe, so say some no go left inside the supply tank. What a tank! That's my boss, Mr. Poncho go talk.
Beautiful, durable, with water level indicator and accurate volume of water. Water tank. What a tank. By Duraplast.
Mr. Bossman, with all these computers, servers, and electronic equipment, I know they see one cable for the floor crack.
Charlie, you be right too. We dey use raised access floors from interface, so all the cables they hide under the raised access floors. So
this be the solution to the plenty cables where you my computer room for office. Accountant, call interface now.
If you're involved in new property development, renovation, or decoration, the right place for you is Interface Limited. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook, Interface Limited GH. Instagram, interface.limited.
Image Bureau and April Communications, in partnership with the National Theatre, presents.
Stanley, look, all hell will be let loose if now were to see anything in the newspapers about me and Mary and living in Labone.
But why?
Because I live with Nashome in his cantonments.
No, son. You live with Mary in Labone.
That too.
Hey, you've got 2 homes?
Yes.
One here with Mary?
Yes.
And one with your girlfriend in East Cantonment?
Yes, only Nashome is not my girlfriend.
What is she? A German Shepherd?
She's my wife.
Run for your wife. Live at the National Theatre, Saturday 1st and Sunday 2nd October, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Tickets are now selling for 100 Ghana cedis at Bachona Total, Kuala, Frankie's, Tema Community 11 Shell, Nalem Store, X-Men, East Legon, or go to www.imagebureaugh.com or dial *365*2020 hash.
So you've got 2 wives?
Yes.
And 2 homes?
Yes.
I can't believe it.
Me myself, sometimes I'm surprised.
Prepare for the most hilarious comedy of your life.
Football's greatest season is here, and DSTV is the stadium with all the action. Enjoy every single match from the FIFA World Cup, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the UEFA Europa League, and the UEFA Champions League. The greatest football from the greatest leagues around the world. Ronaldo, Haaland, Messi, Salah, Afena-Gyan, and Benzema. All week, every week. Get your decoder today for just 169 Ghana cedis and upgrade to Compact and be part of sport's greatest stadium only on DSTV. DSTV, it's your moment.